Hello, everybody, and welcome back to WoW Mods. We're back, and we're back to my Kul'tiras mod. So like I said, there's still a lot of work to be done on this, and it's a fairly large project. I don't know what I get myself into, but we're gonna do a little bit of an approach. Like I said before, the idea of this particular mod was to style what Kul'tiras would have been. Before I guess the game announced what Kul'tiras was and what it would look like. So while going through some forums, there was some discussion, and they were saying, you know, if Gilneas is sort of like Victorian England, and there's all these different European sort of look to it, they were like, well, what if Kul'tiras looked like, you know, Mediterranean, like a or a Spanish colonial city with a series of big islands with walls and turrets. And anyways, this is how we ended up with this. And we're also using some of the resources in game, obviously, so there's a bit of the inspiration. But anyways, we are here, and this is what I'm going to call the Royal Quarter. So we've actually gone ahead and done a bit of detail work, or more detail work, on the Royal Quarter. I want to be clear, these banners here and these flags here and even these things here are all just stand-ins until I actually customize the models. But essentially what these are going to be, the Kul'tiran banners that are going to be flying. So these are all going to be green, and obviously we know that these roofs that are in blue over here on the back of the castle, they're actually going to be red to match everything in there. So yeah, so this is pretty much what we did. So you saw in the past video how I installed these sort of barriers around that, and then we did a little bit of hedge work around that. We added some vegetation to the back and put some adornments here and there, and that's, you know, it's just sort of to start populating the area with what is going to look good and not so good. So we've got some of these stalls, some of these actual stands with information. So this is pretty much what we're aiming for. The plaza is pretty big, which means that there will be certain areas that I will want to add things into. So for example, I've decided that here would be two really good places to put some actually wagons, some vendors, which would be nice. Maybe move this wagon up here up to the front. Maybe do something in this area. I still haven't decided what that will be. And also do something around this fountain, which I think is going to be, we're going to do a bit of bush work here and just put some bushes and flowers down. That should work nicely. Now, what else have we changed? Well, we've added these smaller trees here and these shorter trees. Here's where you sort of get the idea of integrating sort of like a Mediterranean look. So these kind of look like olive trees to me, and these short little cypress trees, which are, if you've ever seen any sort of like Italian or Spanish homes, you'll see that they'll make use of a lot of cypress trees to adorn the sides of their roads or houses. Obviously, in the back, you'll always have the palm trees and the sort of like tropical feel to it, and it's also present in some of the bushwork and fauna in the areas. Fauna, not fauna, flora in the area. Let me see if I can show you. Okay, well, let's go through here. Now, I still haven't adjusted the height on some of these things, and I will most definitely do that. But yeah, so here's like where you see sort of like the hints of the tropical aspect. We've got these ferns, and we've got these tall bushes which sort of match the color schemes of the palm trees. And before anybody asks, yes, we are in the mass of land of the Emerald Dream within the game. Why? Because it's an enormous map that hasn't been used for anything and doesn't actually have much content, so I thought it would be an ideal place to actually build without having to code in brand new maps into the game. So that's question answered for some of you who were asking what I was using to add some of these custom maps. I'm making these custom maps within the Emerald Dream raid instance, I believe. That it's an instance and not a dungeon. So I didn't really have to worry about importing, or not importing, but integrating new maps into the game, which is a bit of an issue for people who are actually trying to mod, and I myself do not know how to do. But, you know, mostly because I haven't been interested in doing that. So yeah, so this is pretty much what we have here. I think it looks really good. I think it looks good from a distance. I think it's going to look a lot better when we actually start incorporating the individual assets. So I think that's all going to be very, very good. Okay, I think we're going to go into Nogget. We're going to do a little bit of the changes that I was talking about, where we'll do some of this work, and we will be right back. All right, so we're back, and we're back this time around. I've done a little bit of changes. I've brought in a couple of models that I wanted to actually integrate. So I've already put the cars right on that side. I've brought this in, which it's not meant to be here, so I'm just gonna like move it all the way over here where we have some more of the shabby things in the way. Not the shabby, you know what I mean. All the crappier end stuff is gonna be on this side now, because we want this part of the town to be a little bit more rustic. It's right next to the port, so it's going to be very maritime. We'll have anchors, we'll have all the stuff. But this is the royal quarter, which means it's got to be a little bit more nice, which is why we have all these lined stone areas here. And we also want the market to sort of be, not the market, but the trade area to be a little bit cleaner. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna move the cart up here in the front, because we said we wanted to do that. So once we come into the actual area, we'll have these carts here, and we'll also have another one here. It would actually probably make sense to move this guy over here. And just have him like that, and that would really sort of benefit this sort of outdoorsy trades area in the royal quarter. I think that's probably it in terms of what we want to do with that. I've got a little counter here, which the whole reason for bringing this one in was so that I could actually bring it to the back of this, actually, and then just raise it up out of the ground like that. And there you go. We have like a counter behind there. Do we need and this part? It doesn't, because we have a bookshelf behind that, which is fine. But yeah, so that's what we wanted to do. We sort of moved some areas into the quarter. Now, what else do we want to do? Oh, yeah, I brought in a couple of flowers because that's what I want to use. Now we have to identify a couple of the bushes that we want to use. So we want to use some of the longer bushes here and just shrink them down a little bit to size, and also the shorter ones, which are these bushes here. So essentially what I'm going to try and do is alternate, I think, between, let's bring that down a little bit there. Very good. We can probably get in a little bit closer. Okay, so if we do that way, we bring this guy down over here. What we might actually get away with doing is actually putting one of these in the center of each fold, or every side of the fountain, and every corner we will cover with one of those small bushes. So let's just go sort of quickly place these things in like so. Right. Gonna do that. And then were we going? No, we were aiming for it to go on the outside like that. And we're just gonna drop it down a little bit. that one's in place. We're going to copy this, put this guy, maybe shrink him down a little bit, and put him down there. Now that just sort of like breaks up the pattern a bit of what we're doing. So we'll be a little bit more careful with how we place those guys. Let's bring that down a bit as well. Flip this guy over. Maybe adjust the angle a bit and bring it down just a little bit. That's good. Turn around. Bring it down a little bit up. There we go. Turn this guy around. Bring it in. Good. Now that we have that, we're going to come in with these bushes. And I think on this side, we'll flip it over on the other side like this. And we'll just sort of bring that guy right about there. Does that look right? We're going to bring it a little bit closer. There we go. Good. Here we'll probably alternate, right? And we'll bring the bush in like that. How's that looking? That's looking pretty good. Now we're going to go alternate. Yes, that's the right side. Bring it in. Down a bit. Perfect. I'm going to go on this side. And again, it's just a matter of trying to find what you think will look good. At this point, I wouldn't... I mean, it depends on how you're going to work. But I wouldn't suggest going into like the itty-bitty mini little... Oh, shit. Wrong button. Right. I wouldn't be too concerned about getting everything exactly as you want it at this point. If you're more or less happy with what you have, I say stick with it, because there's a lot of... The reality of it is that you will be doing a lot of corrections as this process moves forward. There is no quick way of modding, and when you're modding from a bird's eye view like I'm doing right now versus going into the world and actually seeing how something looks, it's a huge difference. Right, okay, so we have this here now, and now the question is, how are we going to place these flowers? And that's going to be another interesting question. So we come in, we look at this, and we go, okay, that's interesting. Do we want flowers? Do we want benches? And the truth is, we probably do want benches. So let's see if within... This list has gotten extremely large, so it might take me a while to actually find what I'm looking for. Honestly, you should probably try and keep this particular part of the program in Nugget divided into smaller areas so that you can actually get to them quicker. Let me see here. It looks like tombstones, sarcophagus, candles. It seems like it's taking me forever. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm just going to save this, and then I'll be right back.